Okay.
Look at the puppy.
He usually shows up. So good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I've already been like on ups and downs already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the past few minutes I was like, okay, I'm going to record a Zoom call. I don't want to be up. So we're going to sit down and we're just gonna, breathe a little bit and ground and take some CBD oil. Have some calming tea.
Mm-hmm.
And it helps, along with identifying like what shit was coming up for me, right? Ooh, which that's what you do, so we could talk about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then just not wanting to go there, right? Like I don't want to go there right before a fucking Zoom call and potentially cry and ruin my mascara. 'Tis life.
Mm-hmm. I think first off, congratulations for doing all that for yourself and tuning in
Thank
and
you.
doing what you needed. That's very
Yeah.
important. I mean, just little shifts like that make such a huge difference. I mean, we might not think, oh, my body needs to stand right now or my body needs to sit. We might not think about that consciously. So being able to do what your body needs and be able to, be open and honest about, hey, it's up and down already this morning. It's happening.
Yeah, already, and it's 11, and it's probably
Yeah.
started at the instant I opened up my email, right? There's a lot of times there's an obvious trigger, and there were some emails, and I was like, armor up.
Mm.
Yeah. Well,
You've been learning some stuff already this morning too.
Oh
Some
yeah.
good opportunities for you.
Yes. Good opportunities. I love the way we can rephrase it. Opportunity.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you noticed how your body was feeling. So these emails,
Right.
like, hey, what's going on here? My body is feeling this way when I open these emails.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I get it. I have not worn mascara pretty much the last 5 weeks at all because of those tears. So I completely understand.
Yeah. Yeah, right. The days that I have like breathwork calls, which is also something we might talk about today.
Mm-hmm.
I wore it last time, and then an hour after, I'm like, oh my God, I have a breathwork session in like 2 hours. What the fuck? It's gonna have to all come off and be re-put on. Yeah. Well, there's a few things different with today, and you may notice some aesthetic changes because I'm using a different phone. So it appears to be a little redder, right? Like there's no more haze like I usually have.
I just thought that was your aura this whole time. I honestly like, oh,
I love that. And maybe I just it's a crack in my camera screen. So I've been like going back and forth with like, should I ask Chris to use his phone? Will he care? Will we get into an argument? Will he not want me to use his phone? And finally today I walk in, I'm like, remember like a month ago I asked you if I could maybe use your phone for a Zoom call? Can I? And he's like, fine. I guess it'll be okay. And then I was like, okay, perfect. It'll look so great. And then it's like seeing yourself in a different mirror, right? I was like, oh my God, everything's red. And like my cheek has this red thing going on. And I never see that in mine because mine's so diffused because there's a fucking crack through the middle.
I don't see it on my end. I think it looks really good. But yeah, it's a different seeing yourself, and it's like a different light. It's amazing how we get attached to our phones too.
Oh, I know. Every time I have to get a new phone, it's pretty uncomfortable for a few weeks. So this is just for an hour. So we have Christine on today because she is an awesome person that I met maybe a year ago.
I don't know. I'm bad with time.
You're what?
I said I'm really bad with time. I don't know. Maybe a year ago. I don't know.
So we could just say some time ago.
Yeah. And
let me tell everybody a little bit about who you are. And then I would like it if you could tell them who you are.
Yeah.
From your own words. So Christine is a massage therapist, so a licensed massage therapist. She owns, I always flip the words around, Honu Coaching and Bodywork.
Yay! Yes, I still
wrote
say my
that 'cause
old
I'm just
business name a lot too, so it's okay.
Yeah. She owns that business in St. Paul, actually really close to my house, so that's fantastic when we need to meet up. And just a little snippet from her website. She is the owner and operator behind Honu Coaching and Bodywork, is a certified body mind coach, which we'll talk about, breathwork coach, which we'll probably also talk about, and licensed massage therapist who uses coaching, massage therapy, and her diverse background in holistic health to best serve her clients. So I thought about having Christine on as somebody to talk about this. So what you have, your certificate is in body mind coaching. And I think in other ways, if people are like, what the hell is that? I think it's similar to, well, you know what? I'll let you explain what that is. So to have her on to talk about that, because we haven't had anybody on to talk specifically about that modality. And then breath work. So we actually did a acupuncture and breath work, what do you call those things? Like gathering months ago. Workshop, yeah, which is so fantastic. And the form of breath work that I practice is different from the form of breath work that Christine practices. So I think it'd be really exciting to have her talk about her, you know, there's several different forms, just like there are several different forms for lots of other stuff. So we'll have Christine talk about that form, and then hopefully we'll get somebody else on to talk about the other form that I do. So you can get, you know, different flavors for what different types are, and maybe you resonate with one and not the other, right? So to help people understand that, you know, just like with acupuncture, there are so many different ways you can practice, and there's even ways you can practice that people are like, I've never heard of that. You're like, that's right, because I made it up. It all, you know, and it all depends on the person doing what resonates with them, and then the person receiving what resonates with you, right? So let's just dive into, I'll hand you the mic and tell everybody who you are and what the work is that you do.
Yeah, thank you, Rachel. Thanks for the introduction. And thank you for having me on this. I'm feeling really weird right now because I'm not the one usually talking about myself. I'm usually the one interviewing. So this is a whole new light for me too, where I'm like, oh, I have to talk about myself.
Yeah, yeah, Christine, she has her own interview series on, what is it called, Vimeo?
Yeah, well, they're uploaded on Vimeo, but I have a private group called Nourishing Your Life Whole. So it's a Facebook private community, which you can join. Anyone can join it. And I have just a ton of tools and resources and things in there just helping people nourish themselves and nourish their body, mind, and soul. So it's kind of like all the tools that I've learned over the last 10, 12 years, kind of putting it all together and sharing it with people.
And did you mention what it was or how people can become part of it if they want to?
Yeah, so you can go to, you can go right to it. It's Nourishing Your Life Whole. So you can just search that group, or if you go to my Facebook page at Honu Coaching and Bodywork, you can get the link from there too, or even my personal private page, my personal private page too. You can have it on, you can see it on there too. So there's a few different ways that you can see it. Even my Instagram, you go on the link in the bio there and you can go on there as well, and then you just get approved. I'll approve you to join the group. So yeah, my name is Christine, and what is body mind coaching? That's always the question, because it is something new. It's something that a lot of people haven't heard about, and you're right, we have some amazing practitioners, and I've been enjoying seeing the different practitioners that you've had so far that you've interviewed, because I know some of them as well, and some I don't, or I've never heard of. So that's really cool. But we all bring these our special gifts, and they might be really similar modalities, they might be completely different, but even if they're the same, they're completely different because we're different people and we have different gifts to share in just a different way. And that's what's so cool about it, is we do what aligns with us, and then we have our clients that are aligned with us that we work with. So that's body mind coaching is a lot about alignment. So helping people really tune into their bodies. So we're running around a lot. I use this term a lot, like the neck up. So we're in our heads a lot. You know,
The what?
From the neck up. We're operating from the neck up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We're cut off. We're not connected. There's no connection.
Amen.
So being able to connect the brain and the heart, and even the gut. So the three brains, the brain, the heart, and the gut. So tuning into your body and listening to the innate wisdom that your body has, and your intuition, your gut feelings, whatever that may be, any signs, signals. As a massage therapist, pain is a signal. It's just an alert that your body's saying, hey, listen, something's not quite right. And then you can make, you know, the positive choices and decisions and action steps moving forward. You know, that's what's going to be aligned for you to help with that pain, that frustration, whatever it may be. I mean, a lot of times we talk about emotions because emotions live in our body. So being able to listen to how you're feeling and where you're feeling it in your body. And with being an acupuncturist, each organ is associated to a different emotion too, which is, you know, super cool. I love learning about that. So if someone comes in and they're like, I had this knee pain, and I'm like, okay, yeah, and they didn't do anything, like there was no injury, like nothing that they know of, you know, and I'm always kind of like, so tell me more about that, you know, and
that's the best Brene Brown quote ever.
Whenever you want more information, tell me more about that. Tell me more about that, because the answer's within us. We have all the answers. It's just we're not listening to it. So a lot of times we're just saying it. And as a coach, yes, you get to repeat back to them and hear what they're saying and say it back to them, and they hear it and they're like, oh, you know, like they're within us. It's just a matter of having someone else see it, because we're running with our blinders on, you know. So if we're running with our blinders on and we're running with the, you know, neck up, how do we access any of this? So being able to help people reconnect into their bodies. But yeah, with the knee pain, I'm like all over the place this morning.
Permission to be all over the place, and to verbal vomit, and to swear.
It's been a while since I've talked about myself, so I don't know. I'm like, where do I go? Where do I go?
Go wherever the fuck you want, Christine.
With the knee stuff, I feel like my dog right now, where I'm like, squirrel.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
It's been wearing off on me, I guess. With the knee stuff, you know, if they start talking to me and you know, I can ask them, like, are you feeling like you're having an uncertainty in your life, or having any trouble stepping forward, you know, with something like, you know, where you're feeling held back and you just can't move forward?
Because it can be that literal.
Yeah. I mean, so there's certain connections, you know, in the body. I mean, I would say majority of people are coming in with stress and energy stuck in their shoulders and neck, or in, you know, their hips and low back. Those are most of the common areas, but it can manifest anywhere in the body. So yeah, I mean, body mind coaching, it's one of those things that you kind of have to experience yourself. So I do definitely invite people in for complimentary sessions so that they can really experience what it's like and feel it, because it is a feeling. I mean, body mind coaching is all about feeling, and it's about being able to listen to what your body is telling you, and then be able to take action from that, so that you're feeling your way forward instead of feeling like you're pushing your way forward constantly. So that you're aligned with your values and your beliefs. So yeah, there's a lot to it, but at the same time, it's really simple. It's just something that we're not used to and accustomed to doing. It's not something every day that everyone, like I do, like I wake up and I'm like, all right, how do I want to feel today? Like, that's not something everyone does every day.
Oh, yeah, I'd say most don't.
Yeah.
Most don't. Even most in the profession, like a wellness profession, I find myself so much, although, you know, I'm still fairly young, I think, in life in general, I still find myself like, you know, waking up unconsciously, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm like in this, oh man, I was just talking to somebody about this a few days ago about the steps, and she probably got this from her coaching training, of being like, there's 4 steps to consciousness. There's like the unconscious, like, don't do things so well. And then there's the conscious, I don't do things so well. And then there's the conscious, I'm doing things great. And then there's the unconscious, I'm doing things great. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like in this point where it's like, I'm really conscious of either doing things really well or not doing things really well. And it's so easy to just get trapped in that. If before, you know, like I open my computer or my emails, I'm not grounded, you know, like how you were talking about being all up here. If I don't take the time, and this is so true for anybody who feels a lot, right? Like empaths, or if you identify with having anxiety or depression or just really strong feelings. If we wake up and just go, it's like, oh, walking around without roots.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the smallest wind will just go whoosh,
Mm-hmm.
and just topple you over.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's helping people and you know, really embodying that feeling how they want to feel, but then also reconnecting and grounding down and being able to, because life is going to be full of stressors. There's stressors all the time. And obviously right now, a lot of people are really stressed for multiple reasons. And it's all circling around us. It's all there, but being able to stay grounded, because that's inside us. Like if we can stay calm inside and stay grounded and stay present, I mean, that's how you stay grounded and calm, stay present. We can get knocked by anything if we're grounded and anchored and be able to still stay calm through it.
Mm-hmm.
And that takes practice. That is not easy. That is not easy at all. I mean, it does take a lot of practice, and I practice every day. I mean, but it's just knowing that like there is going to be stress, how, you know, so it's how you react to it.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of stress management, like how are you going to manage the stress in your life? If you know, some of the stress is in your control and you don't need to have it in there. So helping people figure out how, you know, to eliminate some of the stress. Yes, there is some ways to eliminate it, but some stress is going to be there. So it's like, okay, then what's the best way for you to be able to manage it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So when I first heard you describe body mind coaching, it sounds similar to a wellness coach or a health coach, or more of the words that are thrown around more than body mind coaching, right? Are there similarities?
I think there's a lot of similarities in coaching just in general, because you're learning a lot of the same techniques on how to coach. I think the difference with body mind coaching is it's not mindset, it's embodiment. So you're embodying those feelings and reconnecting into the body. So using the body and feeling your way forward instead of thinking your way forward.
Mm-hmm.
So so I think that is like the biggest difference, is really listen to your intuition. And that's what, you know, I practice and teach versus if I was, you know, a wellness coach or health coach, which I'm sure there's a lot that say they're a wellness coach and health coach that also do some of the same work because they're in tune.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're definitely in tune and know that that's a huge part as well. So it just depends on what you want to call yourself. I mean, the training that I went through, you know, was specific to holistic practitioners and massage therapists, and it was designed for massage therapists because, you know, my coach was a massage therapist, and she, you know, she knew that we're coaching already, for one. For another, like, so I've been a massage therapist for 13 years, and I absolutely love it. It is a passion of mine. But I also complete honesty, like started feeling frustration with my clients because they were coming in with the same issues over and over and over again. And I felt like I wasn't,
you're not alone.
yeah, I felt like I was doing a disservice to them. I felt like there was so much more I can do for them and so much more that I can do to serve them and help them get out of that loop. It was just, you know, they were just looping over and over and over again, whatever it was, right? So they'd come in, feel amazing on the table, feel incredible, whether they came in once a month, every 2 weeks, whatever it was. And then they'd walk out that door back into all those same patterns, all those same habits that were causing the pain and the stress and the frustration from the get-go. And then they'd feel all stressed out all over again. And then they'd come back and see me again and then feel good for a little bit. And then all the same stuff over again. So being able to gap that bridge in between. So yes, some of my clients do come in and do body work and coaching. Some people do coaching. Right now, obviously, it's all virtual coaching. Coaching programs, coaching one-on-one. But being able to really bridge that gap and help people, it is a lifestyle change. So when you said, you know, wellness coach or, you know, lifestyle coach, I mean, it is a lifestyle coach. So if you're ready to stop feeling what you're feeling, you know, and want more, if you're sick of feeling this pain and this tension and this stress in your body, then that's, you know, you have to get to that point first. You know, you have to be ready and to make those changes, because you have to do the work. I'd love to do the work for you, but that's not how it works. You have to do your own work, and you have to turn inward to do the work, because it's a lot of self-care, and self-care is all about starting with you, and that's inside and turning inward. And yeah, I mean, again, I still do massage and I do love it. I mean, there's many purposes of the physical aspect of massage. You are shifting things, you are, you know, moving things in the body when people are stressed and have emotionals and stuck energy. Like, I do feel like it's still very beneficial, but I think the combo of the two really shifts things and really makes that positive impact, because I want people not to have just a Band-Aid. I want to get to the core issue of what's bringing them in there in the first place. Why are you stressed in the first place?
Let's talk about that a little.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Yeah.
That I'm pretty sure everybody and their mother and their father can identify with that. Well, if they're conscious of it, right? If they are conscious of it.
Yeah,
and
awareness.
It's the path of healing, and it's the path of figuring out how the fuck to just do this human thing on this earth. I experienced it so much with, you know, going to, who can I find that's going to heal me? What's the next modality that I haven't tried yet that is going to be the thing to take my pain away? And when it got really physical for me, when it's emotional, that's tough, right? Because we don't have the tools to navigate that in this world, unless we're really blessed with like really woke parents or grandma or grandpa, whoever raised you. But yeah, my experience with the physicalness was the back pain. Like you mentioned, that knee pain, let's say it came out of nowhere, right? My back pain came out of nowhere. Everybody I went to was like, did you get into a car accident? When did you injure it? I'm like, I didn't, nothing. It just appeared out of nowhere, right? Because that's what it felt like. And not until I started, I would address it with certain things, but then I just kind of set it aside and started working on some other stuff. And lo and behold, I think maybe we've talked about this. And lo and behold, we did. I go to one of my sessions with whoever I was seeing at that time, right? Because like I always have somebody that I'm seeing. And I go, so are we working on my back pain at all? Because like it's going away. And I can't exactly remember what she did, but I'm pretty sure she just smiled and smirked and was like, well, you know, we're working on everything. And I'm like, oh my God, that was my first realization of what you're talking about. That there is a physical tie to the spiritual tie, to the emotional tie, right? Like it's all, so when somebody comes into our office and they're like, I have knee pain, get rid of it. we can sit back and smile and say, all right, what is your soul ready for?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I know so many of us as practitioners go into this work either after we've had these conscious experiences or like right as we're doing it, right? So then we come out of our certification or schooling or whatever training, and then we still are getting the patients and the clients who aren't attaching the dots, right? Which makes sense, right? And that's the space that we're holding, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you get, that's where the frustration, I think with the massage therapists and the chiropractors and the acupuncturists and the physical therapists that notice that tie of physical and spiritual, and yet still have the clients coming saying, that there is no connection, right? Holding
Mm-hmm.
space for that's a lot. Like, I can't imagine holding space for me 5 years ago. Whoa. That was a lot of space. I mean, it's still a lot of space, but yeah. Talk us through a little bit about what that looks like for you. You have somebody come in and says, like, I have this headache that won't go away. Christine, fix me. That's a knowing giggle.
Fix me. Yes, there is no fixing because you're not broken.
Mm-hmm.
No one is broken. You're not broken. And I think that that's a huge healing for a lot of people, is feeling that something's always wrong with you.
Yeah.
There's not. It's just a message from your body.
That's a hard one to let go.
Yeah.
So what do you blame it on? What do you blame it? Your thing that you want to blame it on?
Yeah. Oh, it must be that, or it must be that, it must be this. And you're analyzing everything, just like analyzing feelings. It's like that doesn't work either. Like, we need to sit with our feelings with no judgment, not analyze them.
Mm-hmm.
That's not healing either. So yeah, it's your story, but it's you having people hold the space for you and you doing your own work.
Yeah.
Has done amazing for you, but as a practitioner and doing what you do now, you can help people so much more.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Going through that yourself, like that experience, I can't imagine how painful it was going through all that. You're right, I have went through a lot of my own experiences, and that's what brought me here too. I was having low back, like hip pain, for a long time, and no injury.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's still prevalent, especially with women.
Yeah.
Anything around the womb space.
Yeah, that's the lack of support in that area. It was just doing too much. I was doing it all. I'm like a lot of women, where we just feel like we need to do it all, and that we can take it all on, and we can do everything we need to do, and nothing's ever enough. Like, you just pile it on until you get completely burnt out. And that's when the shift happens for a lot of people. I mean, they have to hit that point where they are broken. But you're never broken, you just feel broken.
You crack.
Yeah, I mean, you're completely just out of balance. So yeah, that was my story, very similar to yours, where I was looking for all the outside sources, and they were all amazing and they all did help me. But it wasn't until I tuned into myself and started making my everyday shifts in my life on a consistent basis every day that I needed to do. And it might have been some little shifts, and it might have been some bigger shifts. They might have felt really big at the time, but they were little tiny shifts. So until I really turned inwards and did my own work, that was when things shifted, and that's when my pain went away.
Mm-hmm.
So, and my exhaustion,
Mm-hmm.
and my burnout. I mean, yes, it is a cycle and it's a pattern, and like you said, we get into all the different areas of the different parts, because we're whole body. We treat the whole body, not just the back, not just one area, because it is all connected. And being able to I lost my train of thought. Let's see if it will come back to me.
Yeah, take your time.
Yeah, it just escaped me. I don't know where I was going with that, but
it didn't want to talk. It did not want to be seen.
So bringing in the physiology with it. So yeah, so there's a lot of times where I can see myself now having that conscious awareness and being very intentional with what I do. But if I could shift right back into that cycle pretty easily. So I have to make sure that I'm aware and conscious and grounded and see myself shift back into that cycle of doing, going, you know. And so then I have to be like, okay, I give myself permission to rest right now. This doesn't need to be done all in one day. We're not going to move mountains here. So yeah, so being able to bring myself back, because it's super easy to go back there. And I mean, that can be anything. I mean, if, you know, whatever anyone's pattern or cycle or hamster wheel or loop that they're on, to be able to break that, and then making sure that, okay, that I see this, I see my pattern, so I can go back to it when I need to. So your question, bringing us back here, your question was, you know, when someone comes in and says they have a headache, yeah, I mean, I can go anywhere. So it's kind of hard to say, because it's everyone's different. You know, there could be 10 people that come in with a headache and it's something completely different. So just having a conversation, whether it's, you know, around the pain that they're having in their headache, or you know, what's going on. Yeah, so just having a conversation. So it's very, very I don't want to say like you know, easy going, relax. I mean, it is like, come on in, let's have a conversation, let's just chat, let's, you know, see what's going on, let's see if it's something that I can help you with. I mean, first and foremost, like, I need to make sure that we're aligned to work together and see if we're a good fit, and if it's something that I can help you with. If not, we're going to refer you out to someone that can.
Right, that's something that we're not taught in our culture, that, like, you know, God, I remember when I was starting out trying to find therapists, like a talk therapist. And, you know, the first one, maybe I was like, I don't know, 13, it like didn't work. And I was like, well, psychotherapy doesn't fucking work. This is ridiculous. Right. And then I, since then, have had like 10 different ones, right? Because not everything is going to work for everyone, right? Not every therapy, like I was talking about in the beginning, not every therapy is going to work with you, or you're not going to jive with every therapist, right? And that's okay. Doesn't necessarily
Totally okay.
And at different times, right? Like before I woke up to the ties that we're talking about between the physical and the spiritual, things were band-aids, right? Like you were mentioning. Now that I understand that I made that connection, everything I do is like that much more amped up, right? Like it's amazing, that shift. And it exists, and it's a thing, right? Like you can go get some of the more like somebody could go see you, and they're in a time in their life, and tell me if this is true or not, but I'm assuming so, that, you know, this just isn't working, this makes no sense, Christine is a bunch of bull, and I'm leaving, right? And they have some shift in their life, and then for whatever reason they get back to you, and there's a connection where there wasn't before, right? Yeah, it's not just what the therapist brings to the table, it's also where we are as participants that can make all the difference.
Can make all the difference. I mean, even right now, like, yes, I'm only seeing people that are aligned to me, but also, what does my body need right now? Does my body need to go and get a clinical, you know, massage, or does my body need to get some energy work? Does my you know, like, what is going to help me in this moment? And that's something that I have to continually ask myself, and I definitely encourage, you know, my clients to continually ask themselves, you know, how do I want to feel, and what do I need? What does my body need to feel this? Because we already feel that, like, whatever it is, like, we have all that inside of us. Like, it's nothing that we need, again, to go find and that we need to search for. We have those feelings inside of us, but, you know, the joy, the calm, the happiness, like that lives there It's just how are we going to bring more of that in? And that's kind of where my self-care, comes in, where I really help people with, embodying that feeling of how you want to feel when whatever the goal is, and then being able to feel that along the way. So you already feel some of that, but being able to take action, empowered, action, and feel your way forward with that embodiment, instead of like coming from like, this is how I feel now, and I'm lacking, a place of lack, and I don't have any of those feelings, and I'm not going to feel that until I reach here. So really helping people feel into it and embody what they already feeling, so that they can already embody that feeling and move forward in that. So it's so much more empowering and just feels good coming from a place like that versus a place of lack. You're coming from a place of abundance. Like, I already have all this, within me. Like, I can't go search for happiness, but I do know that, if I wake up and I go take a walk with my dog, and if I meditate and, take the time that I need for myself and do the breath work or whatever it might be, like what you need to just bring those feelings in more. Yeah, or bring the feelings out, if you want to say that. Yeah, so yeah, when someone comes in, to be a little bit more detailed, when someone comes in, for a session, it can go anywhere, but with the body mind method, it's basically 3 questions, and that's when I said it's simple.
Ooh,
it's simple,
I haven't
but
heard
it's
this
not. Yeah, it's simple, but at the same time, like, if you're the one doing the work on the other side, it's not simple, because you really have to sit with your feelings, and that can be one of the scariest things ever. So asking people,
oh girl, don't we know it?
Yes. So asking people how they feel, and where do you feel that energy in your body? And you probably heard me say this, because I do say it sometimes in my breath work too. So where do you feel that in your body? Where is that energy? What is that energy that you're feeling? Because I like to say energy too, because oftentimes we can associate emotions as good and bad. And then again, we start to analyze or judge, or we stuff those emotions, and you can't just feel joy and not feel sadness or anger, or just feel happy and don't feel frustration. Like, you're going to have those emotions, and even now, so like, we're feeling multiple emotions at once. But being able to really feel that. So when you say energy, that's what it is. It's just energy.
I love that replacing of those words.
Yeah.
Like, we grow up thinking things are good or bad, right or wrong, should or shouldn't. Yeah, and just giving it a word that says it is.
It is. Yeah. And then you can identify what that feeling is, and where are you feeling that in your body? And that's reconnecting you back into your body, because you can't feel when you're up in your head. So bringing your awareness back into your body, and ooh, I really feel that, like, right in my chest, it's really heavy, or I feel that in my gut, or I kind of feel tingly all over, like, like, there can be so many different feelings and sensations, but feeling what that is. And that takes practice too. For us, we've been doing the work, so it might be a little bit easier to identify what that feeling is and what you're feeling. And sometimes I still don't. Sometimes I still have, my coach pull it out me, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's grief. Like, oh, that makes so much sense now, like, yeah, those aha moments. So being able to feel into what are you feeling, and then going into that conversation, but then how do you want to feel? So knowing that you can shift that feeling when you're ready, when you're ready to, you felt it, you leaned into it, you did the work. So when you lean into it and feel that energy and where you feel in your body, what is that trying to say? What is the message there? If your body had, this is where it's like, that might sound some woo-woo to some people, but for me, like, again, I think
we're all pretty woo-woo on this channel.
Good. They're all just alerts. They're all just messages from the body. So what is that message from your body? What if your body was trying to tell you something, like, what's it trying to say? What's really going on there? You know? So getting down to the root of what's really going on. So maybe they're feeling it in their shoulders and their neck. Maybe they're getting these tension headaches from the neck and shoulders. And it comes on every time this, it might be, once they start feeling into it, it might be like, my body's saying slow down, or my body's saying I'm doing too much, or, when the day I had to shut my business, I had a conversation with my coach, and I was feeling deep, deep sadness for the world. And I was feeling it really heavy in my heart and my chest. And I sat with it, and the message from the heart was just, it's going to be okay. And that just is what brought me through this whole time, knowing it is going to be okay. But a lot of the shifts of the awareness, like, okay, like my tight neck and shoulders is because I'm carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders. I'm carrying too much responsibility. And there's another step, is that energy yours? Sometimes it's not even ours to carry. It's not our baggage. It's not our luggage. It's not our weights. It's not ours to carry. And that can become really, really heavy. We all have empathy. So, even harder for us who are empathics, like, to make sure that we're brushing that energy off. That's not ours to carry too, because it could feel like that. And I felt like that at the very beginning when this pandemic started, I felt that sadness of the world, and I felt like I was carrying a lot of it. So I had to let a lot of that just be released, because it wasn't mine to carry, not at all. So so what is that your body trying to say? What is that message? What would it like you to know? And it might not come up right away. It might totally be obvious. You just haven't tuned in to really know. And then how do you want to feel? So taking that, how do you want to feel going forward and focusing on that? Because you can shift how you want to feel at any time. You can move your body. You're shifting emotions, you're shifting things. So exercise is amazing. That's where massage can come and play, after a coaching session. How do you want to feel? Because if you focus on how you are feeling, like if you're in pain, so let's say it's someone that's coming in and they're just having a lot of back pain, if you're focusing on that all the time, you can imagine
what you focus on with watering seeds. Your garden, your body's a garden. What seeds do you want to water?
So if that's where you're just stuck in that cycle, then how are you going to break the cycle of pain if you're constantly thinking about the pain? So being able to shift that into how do you want to feel? So, I want to feel
big shift for a lot of people.
Yeah, I want to feel amazing. I want to feel like I can go run a marathon. I want to feel, when I wake up, I want to feel energized. I want to be able to play with my kids. There's so many different things of like, we think that, sometimes we think that this is just how it is. This is, this is just how it's going to be, or I'm feeling this, but then what you think about, you bring about. So if you keep focusing on that energy, you're just going to bring more of that energy. So focus on the energy that you do want and how you do want to feel, to be able to shift that and get you out of the pain cycle, so that we're not focusing on a number of, what your pain level is or your stress level is. We're focusing on how you want to feel and embodying that feeling, and bringing that forth. So being able to shift and make those positive changes and habits in your life. So how are you going to feel that way? Like, what are some action steps that you can take then? You know, what's one thing? And we usually start really small, do pretty basic, because habits take a while. You know, it's not something that just happens overnight. So being able to start very small, and you know, right now the self-care group that I'm leading during this time, it started during this time, which was what perfect time, because we need to take care of ourselves more than ever right now. And you know, right now it's building that self-care program for yourself, and that regimen, that routine, that ritual. I mean, mine's changed during this time.
Oh God, me too.
And being able to implement that and stick with it and feel really good about it. Like, how could you have a self-care routine that you just love? Like, I want to be excited to wake up in the morning, to be able to do this and have this, and making the time and the space for what you need, and giving yourself a little bit more grace right now too. You know, doing it with grace. So there's going to be some days that might look a little different.
Yeah, I just reposted this picture on Instagram about how in times of stress, your threshold gets smaller, right? So the threshold between I'm cool, you know, if we were to go use numbers and say 0 is relaxed, 100 is angry, pissed off, throwing things, you know, going from 0 to 100, it happens super fast, right? Because our bullshit threshold is just so low, right? Because we already had the pandemic, like, just weighing us down, right? So yeah, giving yourself a lot of permission. Going back, there are two things that I want to touch on. One, what was the second one? That I remember when I started going through this process of somebody asked me, if you had a magic wand and you could do anything with your future, what would it look like? It sounded very similar to your question of how do you want to feel, right? And I remember just like holding my make-believe wand, and I was sitting in the circle, and I'm like, I couldn't even go there. Like, I couldn't even fathom, my brain would not let me put together, and because I didn't trust that what I wanted actually could happen.
Yeah,
right? I was super stuck. So I want to normalize that space of, if you're listening to Christine talk and you're like, I don't even know how I'd want to feel, and you're like, that's weird, that's wrong, I shouldn't be feeling that, right? Knowing that that's a space that, if really mostly anybody who taps in, especially if we're unfamiliar of tapping in, our brain doesn't even let us go there, because it's not a habit yet of thinking, I can change the way I feel, I can change the way I live, I have control over my emotions and my feelings in the future, right?
Yeah.
So know that you're not alone in that feeling. Yeah, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. Thank you for bringing that up. That's such a good point. I think that with a lot of the work that I do, people aren't quite there yet. So that's why I meet them where they're at, because, you know, going through this process might look very different for another person. So depending on where they're at, and taking them through the process just differently for each person on, you know, what they need. And, you know, even with my vision board workshops, you know, that happens too, like the question of like helping them see what's really possible, you know, like helping them see what's possible, because we don't see it. We, again, have our blinders on. We, you know, it's a lot of self-love and self-acceptance and knowing what's possible, because so many people don't even know what's possible. They don't know that they can feel any better. They don't know that they can have this life that they desire. They don't know that they can, you know, quit their corporate job and do their passion. Like they, you know, so it's a lot of, we tap into all those limiting beliefs and things that are blocking you and keeping you stuck and holding you back.
This has a name. It's called limiting beliefs, people.
Yeah. Oh, limiting beliefs, inner critic. Yeah, my coach calls them gremlins.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Brene Brown calls them too.
Yeah, there's so many different fun names for them, but that's the thing. We make it fun because we don't want to. We want to meet them with love. you know, it's there
Yeah.
to keep us safe. They're there for a purpose. We're wired for that. We're wired for fear. And, you know, I think that's why right now, again, bringing it back to what we're dealing with right now in our life is we're wired for fear, you know, and so everyone's coming from that fear base of, you know, we need to stay safe. And, you know, so obviously this is different than, you know, the words that are playing in our head, but the connection of okay, yes, our bodies are wired for this, but don't let it run the show.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like I was reading Peter Levine's book. I have about 6 books that I'm reading that I can't commit to. I think it's probably Peter Levine or Stephen Porges, right? So those guys are into the polyvagal theory, or discovered the polyvagal theory, and then somatic experience, right? So much of what you're talking about. And the one, Stephen Porges, the guy who brought polyvagal theory to the world, talks about these systems and how that fear system, or like the depressive system of stopping everything, is the oldest system in our central nervous system, right? That's called the parasympathetic mode. That came online with fish, apparently. I'm not a scholar on this, but this is what I've been researching. That's the way they escaped their prey, was to shut everything down and go down, right? I have a point to this. And then what came online, you know, thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of years later, was the reptilian, I believe, fight or flight, parasympathetic or sympathetic, right? So get away. And then what came online with us mammals, you know, again, a lot, not like 100 years ago, like hundreds of thousands probably, right? Which came online of the social, like connection, facial expressions, right? And that's the vagus nerve allows us to do that, right? So that came to mind when you said these old ways of thinking, right? Not only are they old ways from like growing up, you know, what our parents taught us and what our parents taught us, hello, ancestral healing.
Yes.
It's old, meaning this is old wiring. Not that it's not helpful, but that we're in this stage as humans, we're at this point in time where this new vasovagal response, this vagus nerve, is relatively, again, hundreds of thousands probably, I'm not good with numbers, relatively new. So we're still learning to live in this upgraded system, right? And we don't get a book. Imagine being handed a super huge jet and like, here you go, fly it. And you're like, I don't know, I kind of grew up knowing these switches and stuff, but like there's all this other shit that like, I don't know, keeps going off and I don't get it. That came into mind when you said that we've got some old stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not just ours. It's not stuff that we picked up as a child. You're right. It goes back generations. So we're learning how to navigate with this. So we get to learn how to do that. And there's a lot of opportunities with that. And yeah, I love this stuff. And I'm so glad that you brought up the vagus nerve too, because that's I love that stuff. I love it. And that's where the breath work comes in too. And the body mind coaching, because we're reconnecting into the body. So when you reconnect into the body, you're calming the central nervous system. So a lot of people get super stressed.
Segue into talking about breath work.
Yeah.
We're coming up in 60 minutes. How are you on time?
I'm okay. I'm okay. Yep. I'm good right now. Thank you.
Okay. Let's spend a few minutes talking about the breath work.
Yeah. So I'm a breathing coach, as well as a body mind coach. And I got into that because of body mind coaching, because I was just like, wow, this is amazing. We're tuning into the body by asking how it feels and listening to the messages. And I feel that the quickest way to bring yourself into the body is through the breath. So being able to focus on the breath and calm your central nervous system. So as a breathing coach, we can work one-on-one with people. So I can work one-on-one with someone only with breath work. Otherwise, if someone wants, I will incorporate that with the body mind coaching. and massage too. So they can all three be combined in sessions, which I do that a lot because I feel the interconnection of all modalities. So the body mind coaching, yeah, I think we talked about this, is kind of like, okay, I'm a body mind coach, and then I have all these tools, so massage and breath work, and my 8 years of working at a holistic wellness center, like all this stuff, nutrition, like that's where like the wellness coach of me comes in, because I have all these tools then to help people with what they need. So I'll bring those in, energy work, all that stuff. So yeah, with the breathing coach, I help people learn to breathe properly. So we learn, we know how to breathe when we're born, right? And then there's this point where we go through life experiences and traumas, and our body learns different breathing patterns. So any traumas, experiences, I mean, I just noticed myself holding my breath. Last week I've been going through some stressful times, and I was holding my breath as a breathwork coach. And I noticed I was holding my breath because I was trying to hold everything in. And that was like, whoa, as soon as I started breathing, like the tears just started coming down. And I had this full on release that I needed, but I didn't even know at the time that I was holding my breath. So you can, yeah, it can be, we're holding our breath because we're in high stress moments. Or it could be we're not breathing like deep enough, or shallow breathing. I'm sure you've heard of terms of like the neck breather or the shoulder breather, where we're breathing up here so we don't get the oxygen, that we need. And so, yeah, it's reconnecting yourself to the body, but there's so many other benefits. I mean, right now it's perfect time for building immunity, and, building your immune system, not immunity, but building your immune system and your health. So being able to have optimal health, it's very beneficial for emotions. Like I just had that release. I mean, in breath work, that can be a good way to shift emotions. A lot of stuff will come up. I know that you have a lot of awesome personal stories with this, of things that come up during breath work. It's a very healing process. So yeah, there's so many different benefits to it, and I just think that one of the easiest ways to really drinking water and breathing are like my two, like, back to basics. Like, let's learn how to breathe and let's drink water. Like, let's go back to basics and do some simple things. And yeah, and everyone that comes in, I'll do like a long intake form on where they're at with their health and their breath and their stress and what's going on. But then and then I'll give them breathwork exercises too that they can do on their own. So depending on if they're feeling really anxious and need something to calm them, I'll give them some breathing techniques that are more calming. Otherwise, if they feel like I'm feeling really sluggish, I need more energy, I'll give them one that's more energizing or something. So there's different types of breathing that can be beneficial for different things. So it just depends on where they're at. So what's going to be the best. And then there's the breathwork sessions and groups that we've done. So group breathwork sessions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with the question that I'm asked a lot about breathwork is, when I explain breathwork, most of the time it is, no matter who you talk to in the world of breathwork, it's an activating breath, right? So it's meant to move stuff, right? So a lot of them look like inhale tummy, inhale chest, out the mouth. So it looks like,
yeah, that's 3-part breath. Yeah, I love that one. That's one of my favorite.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And when you show it to people, they're like, I think I might pass out. And you're like, yeah.
That's why you're laying down. because
right.
It is, you can get lightheaded. I mean, your body is not used to getting that much oxygen. So yeah, laying down.
That's the point, right?
Mm-hmm.
The point is to do that.
Yeah.
Can you speak a little bit about that? When people say, well, I thought to be relaxed and to be healthy, we're going to like do some, what I do with yoga.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
So why is this different?
if someone is coming in for a one-on-one session, I mean, if they need a calming breath, I will. So I'll do like a shorter inhale and an extended exhale. That is very, very calming. That's going to help people
Turns on
shift
the
right out
vagus
of.
nerve.
Yes, it's going to help people shift right out of fight or flight. So being able to tap into that central nervous system and calm it. So that's one of my favorites that I've been teaching people right now, is just the extended exhale. Whenever I feel anxious, that's the one I do. It's very good if anyone has sleep issues too. That's a really good one for someone with sleep issues.
I do that a lot if I'm waking up and wanting to fall back to sleep. And for people who are curious about what that is, it's literally, you can choose like 4 breaths in, 8 breaths out. And you keep going for 8, right? And that literally turns on, it flips the switch, so to speak, in your nervous system. That vagus nerve that we were talking about before, that helps turn the vagus nerve on. Other things like, smiling and kind eyes are all things that the vagus nerve goes to. So when you can manipulate these things, it switches that vagus nerve on, which helps us, think of a dog. Dog's vagus nerves are usually turned on. That's why they're just like hanging out, right? It turns that on. So that's why she's, suggesting that.
Yeah. And with the extended exhale, I'll start people slower too. So the inhale might be 3 seconds and the exhale might be 6 seconds. And then I also always do it with inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose as well. So it's a connected breath, and you can feel it through the nose. So yeah, it's going to be different for anyone. Maybe they want to feel more energized in the morning. I'll do a different type of breath work in the morning to get myself going and energized. That would be more of like the chi breathing that we did at the breath workshop that we had.
And the chi breathing is,
right? Yeah.
It's intense.
Yeah.
I remember half the session I was like rocking for some reason, right? Because that helps.
That's what you want to do, is if you're not laying down, the rocking motion will help, and you want to visualize the breath going up the spine, down the spine. Yeah, and it's a connected breath too, so you're in and out through the nose.
It literally looks like this. I mean, what you're probably imagining is not far from what it looks like. Except I wouldn't have a silly grin on my face. Probably not.
It's good to smile.
And you do that for how long?
So you can do it like in the morning. I'll do it for 3 minutes. So you can do a 3-minute one. Otherwise, a half hour. There's even 90 minutes you can do.
Oh my God! And just that few inhales and exhales, like just try it on your own right now.
Yeah.
It's like I describe breath work as it's like a cardio for your soul. Right? And like in Chinese medicine, we talk so much about stagnation, which is just a word to mean that, things get stuck. And you can be stuck and anxious. You can be stuck and depressed, right? There's that stuck piece. And this helps move things through. I mean, you'll feel it when you start breathing. There's a shift, right? And it may be subtle if you're not used to tapping into that, but just do a few breaths and sit and notice what is shifting and what is that?
Yeah, just those sensations. Like you can feel tingly, like it's common to feel tingly around the mouth or tingly, in your fingertips or down your arms. Just notice some sensations that you feel. It might feel like you're hyperventilating because it is a fast, in and out. But again, try it when you're laying down first, or sitting and rocking. Very important to make sure that you do it. You just try it for a few breaths and see what it feels like. Some people can notice a shift like that. It doesn't take long. That's why like the 3 minutes, like it's like, oh, it doesn't take long. But if you want to go deep into it, that's where the 30-minute sessions work really well.
Yeah, that's like a full-on sob session for me. Like if I don't want to have to reapply my mascara, I haven't done the short sessions as much, but one of my friends downloaded the Wim Hof app. If you're interested in what we're talking about, that's kind of an easy way in to get familiar with breath work. Wim Hof is a dude who's from Iceland, I think, and he has his own form of breath work. Where was I going? Oh, yeah, the shorter ones, like it's also common. Do you find this in your practice where people are like, Christine, I hate breath work. I hate doing it.
Oh yeah,
Speaks to that a little
very
bit.
resistant to it. I mean, it's just the same as resistant to feeling what you're feeling. You know, that's why a lot of people don't meditate. A lot of people can't even sit by themselves because they're so resistant to bringing up those emotions and actually feeling. So yeah, I think that it can be scary, and I'd be happy like with anyone to sit and talk through it, or to introduce, you know, some breath work, some easy ones just to start out with, so it's not so scary, and then build into it.
That's
Yeah.
why I love a coach with breathworking and doing it in a group, because when I did it in a group the first time, I didn't know what was going on. So I had no preconceived notions and I just did it. But then I remember every time after that was like, just like you said, like it's very similar to sitting down and meditating. You're like, I don't want to do this, or going for a jog. It's the exact same feeling. Like you're jogging and then you're like, yeah, I'm going to turn around and go home because I don't want to do this, right? It's that
Mm-hmm.
feeling. And then we think, oh, well, this means that I don't want to do it, or that I can't do it, or that there's something wrong with me, that there's just a resistance, right? But that's totally normal.
Yeah,
It's totally normal. And that's why
totally
working with
normal.
a coach is so helpful. Because
Mm-hmm.
instead of rolling over and being like, I'm just not gonna, you have that coach to stay with you and be like, you got it, you know, only a few more
Mm-hmm.
minutes or a few more breaths, you're
Yeah.
doing good, to help talk you through, just like a running partner.
Fast. Like it's amazing how fast the sessions go to. And I do love the group sessions. It's so powerful and amazing. And they kind of feel like giant slumber parties to me. So it feels good and brings me a lot of joy at the same time. But I do love the group settings. And I also like the one-on-one, you know, if that's for someone too. And that's why I work with people one-on-one and group, because sometimes I want to be in a group setting personally, and sometimes I know I want to work one-on-one. So it all depends on where I'm at and what I want to work on, and sometimes it will feel better one way or another. So again, asking yourself what you need and what's going to feel best for you, and maybe you want to do both, and that's awesome too, you know. So yeah, stepping into that and feeling into it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
So
two-way to fear and healing.
I love to end if, and I want to give you total permission to hop off if you need to hop off, but if you want to spend, you know, a few minutes maybe going through some breathing exercise to give people a little bit of a taste of maybe some embodiment or breath work.
Yeah.
How does that feel to you?
Yeah, we can just do like first three that pop into my mind or something. We can do a few exercises just so people can try them and see what they feel like in their body. Do you want to do something like that?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So let's see. So the extended breath, we already talked about that. So let's do that one, because I absolutely love that one, especially right now. Anytime you can do this, but especially if you start feeling any like anxiety, or you're just feeling a little stressed or something, it's a good thing. Like, or like maybe you're in a situation like even with someone and you're like, oh, I'm feeling this in my body, I'm feeling myself getting stressed, like I need to take a pause and just breathe for a minute. So being able to take a pause, breathe, and then react, your reaction will be much different. So being able to do that when you need to. I also do this one, so I actually get anxiety when I fly. So this breath is very much like it's almost like hypnobirthing, or like like hypnobirthing is different, but again, it's with the breath and guiding you through it, so it helps calm you. So when I'm like flying, I'll get some anxiety like take off, so I'll make sure that I do this breath too and just really focus on it. So with the extended breath, just like Rachel, you know, shared before, we'll start with like a 3-second inhale through the nose, and then a 6-second exhale, extended exhale. So when you're inhaling, kind of be aware of like where you feel your breath. So even right now, like if you were to take a breath, just a natural breath, like inhale and exhale, that was my stomach grumbling. We're activating things here. So breath work is actually really good before a meal too. So Notice where you feel your breath. Like, where did you feel your breath go when you just took a breath, Rachel?
Oh, I wasn't paying attention. I was totally just listening to what you were saying. Okay, let's
take one more breath and just notice where you feel your breath go.
Right here.
Okay. So with the extended exhale, see if you can get the breath into the chest, the lungs, you know, the diaphragm and the belly. Like, feel that all expand with the inhale. So a nice deep inhale for 3 seconds, and then when you exhale, exhale through the nose for 6 seconds. And feel your belly and diaphragm, like all that deflate. So you're gonna feel your belly kind of go back in towards the spine. So again, 3 seconds in and 6 seconds out. And then if you want, if you're ready to try, you can try 4 seconds in and 8 seconds out. So when you extend the breath, just really try and get as much of the breath out when you release. So again, the inhale is taking it all in, and then the exhale is more of the release. So I always like to think about that with any breath work too, to calm yourself. Like, what energy you're bringing in with the exhale, like what do you want? How do you want to feel? And then with the exhale, just releasing anything you don't want to feel or any energy that you no longer need to carry. So 4 seconds in when you inhale and 8 seconds out with that extended exhale. And when you're extending that exhale, so it's the exhale that's really calming your nervous system. And if that feels a little difficult, you can back up again and start at like 3 and 6 if that feels good to you, and then work your way up again to that 4 and 8. How's that feeling, Rachel?
So when I do this after a few breaths, I know that if I open my eyes, I'm gonna look like I just smoked pot.
That is wonderful.
That's the heavy eyes feeling of the nervous system. Everything, you know, my fidgeting stopped, my swaying back and forth stopped. All signs of being grounded.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So the other one that I start people on, so this one normally I give everyone because most people need to calm themselves. So this is a good one for calming. And then I start people out just checking where their breathing is going and where their breath is going. So the 3-part breath. And that's different than the 3-part breath that you just showed me. So the 3-part breath is checking to see where the breath goes. So you want first, so it's one inhale and one exhale, but you're feeling it first in the belly, and then you're feeling it in the chest, and you're feeling it in the back. So getting your breath to your back is something that we might have never felt before. Like, we might have never felt your breath going back there. For me, I'm really good at belly breathing. Like, that's something I've always been really good at, but getting it in the lungs and the back has been a little bit harder for me. So that's something that I practice too, and like shifting, okay, where can I bring that breath even deeper into the body? Like, how can I expand, make that breath even more expansive? So when you inhale, feel it in the belly, and then you feel it in the chest, in that chest rise, and then you feel it in your back. And this can be a little bit more difficult for you to feel in yourself. So I usually just put my hands, you can't really see me here, but put my hands like on my sides here, on the rib cage. So feel it kind of in the ribs. So this is something that I'll check on people when they come in to see if we can get that full breath, and then just keep checking them every time they come in. So yeah, just inhale. I'll do it with you. So inhale, I usually put one hand on my belly, one hand on my belly, one hand on my chest so I can feel that rise. And so I feel the belly expand and extend out. I feel the chest expand kind of up and out, and then feeling it expand in the back too.
So are you looking for the expansion in the back on the second part?
So it's one breath, so you might not be able to feel
Oh, this whole thing is one breath?
one breath. So I'm showing
wow.
you really slow. Yeah, I'm showing you really slow, but it's one breath. Inhale.
Ah, that's so much to think about.
Yeah. So this one's nice. Like when people come in, I can put my hands on their back and feel it go into their back with one breath. I can feel it on their, I can see it and feel it on their chest and belly. So I can visually see it on people as well, but then I can feel it with my hands. So when you're doing it at home, when you're doing it at home, it's a lot of moving your hands around and just really feeling.
Right. I feel like I'm doing a Western examination.
Yeah.
Where,
it's really cool to practice it and just see, where does my breath go? Like, how deep of a breath am I getting? Like, I think, what was my statistic? I forgot already. I'm not good at remembering things. It's like 90% of people only breathe at like 50% of their capacity or something. It was don't quote me on that. I'd have to look that up again. But it's very low. Like, we're not breathing at our maximum capacity at all. So this one helps.
Oh, I believe it so much. I'm definitely somebody who, like, I'll find myself holding my breath, bracing.
Yeah. Yep. Bracing. Exactly. So, let's see, what's another one? So another one that I just showed, I just did a video on, was for immunity. That's why I did it. And that one's tapping your thymus. So what I like to do.
What the thymus is, if they're unfamiliar.
Oh, the thymus tap. Yeah. So just below your collarbone here. So I have kind of a bigger gap there. But yeah, just, you can tap or you can pound, whatever feels good. So that's going to just activate the thymus. That's going to help get you back in balance. Turn on.
It's a little organ that's right here.
Yeah, it like turns on the energy in your system. So if there's any blockages or stagnation or anything that's off balance, it's kind of like just turns everything back on. It's like the light switch. So when you inhale, I usually do essential oil. So usually take an essential oil. I've been doing like eucalyptus right now because that's really good for the lungs. So I'll rub that in my hands. So I do this on my clients when they're in getting a massage sometimes too. So I'll put essential oil on my hands, and then with the inhale, I'll breathe in the essential oil, and with the exhale, I'll tap the thymus. So it looks like this. So it's an equal parts breath. So you can inhale and exhale at the same time. So inhale. And exhale. And if you want to take it even a step further, you can say affirmations with the inhale too, which is, or an affirmation like, I am healthy, I am well, or, I'm just pulling up anything, but whatever you want to say.
I am okay is the affirmation I'm working on.
That's a good one. I am okay.
I am okay.
Yeah, I'm flowing with abundance, and I am well. Everything's okay.
What it's unfamiliar to me to have so much vibration going on right here, and it just makes everything like reverberate right here. Yeah, that's a different one for me. Huh.
Yeah, I like to do that one a few days. It's kind of like a few times a day. It's kind of like a reset for me. Feels good. it feels good. But anyone that, wants to help with their immune system right now, I mean, I feel like anything that feels good and that's easy, just little things like that doesn't take long at all, because we're getting so many benefits because we're using the breath and we're also tapping. We can use essential oil. I mean, there's multiple benefits, and it takes all of, minutes or two.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for sharing those tips. I know that people who don't experience breathwork or don't even know that it's a thing, right? It's very easy to think it's just fucking breathing. Like you said, right? I don't need to teach myself. We know this coming out. Babies do it without thinking, right? It's an autonomic thing to do. We automatically do it. And yet there is so much to it. There's so much to it. Just like when we think, we can't, when we teach ourselves to listen to our thoughts and to hone in and nurture our thoughts, right? We think that's nothing. Listening to my thoughts, it's such a little shift. And yet when you do these practices, devote a little bit of time to understanding and opening your thinking around these practices, huge shifts can be made. And that's the really beautiful thing with energy work, is sometimes it's so subtle. It's like that drop in the ocean, right? I talk about that all the time. If our existence was an ocean, the ripple effect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you just put one drop in the ocean, and all it took was that teeny tiny drop. And then what happens with the drop, if you look at water, you get ripples, right? There's an effect far away from the source, right? That's what we're dealing with here, folks. So if you're sitting back listening like this is a bunch of bullshit, that's okay, by the way.
Yeah.
And if you're like, this is a bunch of bullshit, and I'm kind of curious, because like one thing she said, kind of, I'm interested, let that, open, let that develop in the next few days. See where that goes, see where that curiosity goes. And then let's say their curiosity goes to, okay, this chick, maybe I want to talk to her, maybe I want to work with her, or maybe they're like, yes, this is what I've always been looking for. How do people get a hold of you? What's the easiest? What would you prefer?
Yeah, the easiest is probably email. I love email right now. That has been working really great. So it's Christine at honumn.com. So Christine, CHRISTINE at Honu, it's HONUMN.com. Otherwise, yeah, you can go to my website, email me from there. That's honumn.com as well. And then Facebook, you can message me from there. Instagram as well. Like I'm connected. You guys can find me pretty much any of those places. Yeah, I would love to know if anyone's curious. I mean, it's all it takes is just be curious. Just be curious and try it. Try any of those exercises, even if you're like, I don't know. It's like the try it. You just have to try it. You just have to try it. It's one of those things. And then once you try it and you're like, that's not for me, cool. Like, I totally respect that. But if it's something that you're more interested in and curious, then yeah, I mean, I'm definitely here to chat with you about anything that you might be curious about.
And then since we are in COVID-19 situation right now, a lot of us have virtual offerings, or we're just tweaking things differently to try to stay connected, right, and make income and keep our businesses thriving. Is there any special offerings you have, or I know you're doing some healthcare health. I'll let you talk. I think you know what I'm talking about. Your little packages, right? Tell everybody what you're doing right now.
Yeah, so we definitely are all pivoting. You hear that a lot. You hear about the paradigm shift. You hear about us all pivoting our businesses.
The pivot. This is going to be the Great Depression, the Great Pivot.
It's been amazing and an opportunity for a lot of us. And I think a lot of us are shifting what we do and really figuring out how we want to come back to our practice too. So it has been great. But for the time being, I am still continuing all my virtual body mind coaching. That is done just like we're doing here on Zoom. I do have some people that do phone calls too if they are not tech savvy. So we can do phone calls, we can do Zoom calls, video chat. And then, yeah, so one-on-one coaching right now. I am in the middle of a current group coaching program, but if you are interested in group coaching, let me know. We can definitely chat about that too, because I might be having another one coming up soon. And then the self-care bundles, like you were talking about. So I have a lot of, I have all my favorite products that I sell at my office. So I put these self-care bundles together for people that are staying at home right now. So what better gift to yourself to give, or give to someone else that you might feel that needs a little bit of self-care and some nourishment. And I feel like I'm talking to the puppy right now.
When to grab some of the things.
I was like, I'm talking to the puppy right now. I was like, I don't know where she went, but I'm just checking.
Yeah, I suppose it would have been helpful to say, hey, I'm gonna peace out for a second. So I don't know if these are in. Oh, this is in one of the bundles, right?
Yeah, the selenite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I picked these up. We talked through the window last week. So she has things like this, right? So this is the selenite stone that I just love. It's my first ever that I've owned. It's hard to, there we go.
Yeah.
She sells these guys, these fun guys, right? The rocks. And then do you sell
not yet?
stuff?
I would love to sell those, but not yet. I give those to my clients that sign up with me to work in my coaching program. Yeah. So that's kind of how I created these self-care bundles, because I was giving these to my clients when they sign up to work with me in my program. So it's a little bonus gift that I give them. But yeah, so I have body care products, essential oils. I have a lot of essential oils. If you go on my website, I have the self-care bundles on there as well, and then we can custom make. I have gem water bottles. I have a lot of really cool products that I customize and just put together, and a little gift basket. People are talking Mother's Day now too, so they're excited about that. So I have those. So yeah, virtual coaching, and then virtual breathwork as well. So if you're interested in doing that alone or with combination, we can chat about that. And then what are other ways? So breathwork, which I'll probably do some virtual group breathwork coming up here too if we don't end up going back to work soon. And then virtual coaching, and distant Reiki sessions. Yes, that's also an offering.
Oh, really? You're doing that?
Yep. So I'm certified level 2 Reiki. So I'm doing distant healing as well for people.
Huh, I didn't know you were
chakra balancing too.
Yeah, so lots of stuff going on over there, right? So if there's any of this sounds curious to her or curious to you, please reach out to Christine. Also, just like she was talking about, I forget that Mother's Day is coming up soon. Yeah. Or if you're looking for stuff like I was, right? I was looking for some stones, and specifically the universe has your back deck. I want to show you guys one more time because it's just so fantastic. It's going to be backwards, but it gives you an idea. It's kind of like an oracle cards, if you guys know what those are. Basically, there's just a phrase on each of them that can be your motto for the day. If you're thinking of doing or getting of any of these things, right now with the shifts that are going on, if you want to support small businesses, right, instead of hopping on Amazon, you can go to people like Christine and help support the small businesses, give them your cash rather than Amazon. Although if you want to feed Amazon, you go right ahead. Right? But that's why I reached out to her, because I wanted my money to go to somebody local and somebody that I knew and that I liked.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm so glad that she had these in stock for me. Oh my gosh, I was so excited.
Yeah, I think a lot of people aren't realizing what businesses are still open and what they're selling. So getting people back into buying local and supporting local businesses while they're mandated to be shut down. And a lot of people are still working and got a stimulus check and they're ready. Like, I've had people contact me, they're ready to, like, okay, how or they got their tax refund, they're like, hey, I'm ready to work with you, I'm ready to buy products, like how can I support you, or so yeah, I feel like there's a lot of businesses out there that I'm just learning about that are still open, and I'm able to get things from them too, so I'm trying to do that as well.
Yeah, any way we can come together and get through this to the other side.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for being on. This
Yeah,
was
thank
great. I'm
you.
glad I got a little
Fun.
breathwork session in, and now I'm going to do that before the next call.
Yeah, good idea. Yeah, it's
Just
so
those 3
good.
seconds.
I love doing it like whenever before I get on a call, I'm doing a little breath work and just grounding kind of meditation or grounding breath work. That's fun to do. Just yeah, take care of yourself. Did you see how red I got, by the way? Did anyone notice that? I just noticed how red my face got. I did. So this is something else
No,
I sell. So I sell the facial jade massage rollers.
you do.
And I did that before our call, and then I didn't realize, like, because all the circulation, I didn't realize how red, like, it felt like afterwards. I was like, wow, I just got really red.
No, I don't notice. And I'm a seasoned vet, and I get red because I get anxiety attacks. So trust me, I think everybody can notice, and maybe sometimes they can, but for the most part, it just looks like lighting. So no, I didn't notice at all.
I noticed that. Yeah, I was like, it felt good. So anyone that has never tried one of those, I sell those. I just love it. It's just giving yourself a facial massage. You know, we have so many cranial nerves in our face, and like our jaws tense, and my forehead actually was really, really tight today. So when I did the roller, I was expecting that to get pretty red. So yeah, I totally forgot I did that. And then I like looked at myself and I was like, whoa, I got kind of red. This is good.
Blood flow, baby.
Yeah. Anyways, thanks for having me. This is fun.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being on. I'm gonna stop the recording and hang around so we can debrief, okay? Because sometimes I just completely stop recording and it's like very jolting because then we can't talk about everything. So for everybody watching, thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you next time. Bye.
Yes, thank you.